Last season, we had a coach who prioritised being offensive, and this season we've got a coach who is prioritising being offensive by not attacking. Yeah,
and it's going to become so toxic. It will be untenable.
What on earth is happening at Tottenham Hotspur? Thomas Frank still has a job. Spurs are out of the cup. The season's over. It's only January. Welcome to the Crowing Cockerel podcast. I'm Graham. I'm here with Tom and Mark. Hi, chaps.
Hello.
Here we go again. I mean, you boys are getting the same deja vu I am, right? It's like, oh, look, we played bad and we lost the game. It's yeah. I just feel like we're in an echo chamber.
Are you ever regretting sort of starting a podcast this season?
I mean,
dear.
We did it on the back of winning a trophy for the first time in 17 years. And now we are first week in January bemoaning the fact, and we're going to be talking about what on earth has gone wrong. How have we not managed to sort out the injury crisis? How have we managed to have a supporter base completely split again, even after the bad guy, was kicked out at the beginning of the season? Yeah, it's just remarkable. It's a fantastic soap opera. That's the way I'm looking at it. That's how I'm still wanting to be involved. It's better than EastEnders. It's better than Coronation Street. It's every day there's something utterly bizarre that comes out of this club, and you can't stop talking about it, can you?
But you wouldn't believe it, though. If you wrote this script, it's so far-fetched. I mean, who ever would dare to write something as ridiculous as Spurs manager drinks from Arsenal cup?
Yeah.
It just wouldn't happen in real life.
But it's not even the worst thing this week, is it? I mean, it is just so funny. You've got to laugh at it. I think we've got to laugh at the situation we're in. So since we last sat down and had a chat, boys, we've had two games. We've ended up losing both.
Yeah, we did lose both.
Yeah.
We definitely lost both.
Yeah, we did lose both. I mean, it's got to the point now where we've lost so many games over the last sort of 12, 18 months. It just doesn't feel the same as it used to, does it? It's almost like, oh, well, that's another game. Let's try and find some positives out of it.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at now.
Yeah, well, talking about the soap opera, of course, we were kind enough to be gracious to the Bournemouth soap opera of allowing their star player to end last kick of the game, winning the game for his side before he left for Manchester City. We are so kind and generous to.
We are. We're the kindest, generous team. You do realise as well, it was Semenyo's birthday.
Was it really? Was it?
Yeah. And some of the headlines were brilliant because, of course, they're known as the cherries. So
yes.
Semenyo gets cherry on birthday cake. I'm kind of okay with us providing decent puns of that ilk. But
we do like a pun on this show, don't we? So the fact that Spurs are just offering a public service of just writing stories and script. When Ange stood up and said season 3 is always better than season 2, we sort of assumed he meant he was going to be in it. But actually, this is even more dramatic, isn't it? It's even more fantastic.
I think back to two things that I said probably it was very close to our first episodes about looking ahead for the season. We talked about Ange had just left, and I was saying how we'd finished 17th. We all know why, and I was kind of sad that he'd gone because I would have liked to have known what would have happened if he had stayed, and that was in the context of assuming that Thomas Frank was going to come in, sort out the defence, and actually, we would be a credible team in the league again. But I'm doubling down on that now. I mean, certainly would not have been this bad under Ange for 100%. There was no chance it would have been this bad under Ange.
Do you not think so? Because it was quite bad in the league, wasn't it? Do you want to say, the injuries, the medical department clearly hasn't been improved at all.
Yeah.
The squad clearly isn't deep enough to challenge on any fronts, let alone on all fronts. Do you really think that, he would have been any better? Or would he just be gone by October and now we'd be on the Frank bounce?
Well,
so he'd probably be improving now.
I'd argue that the results might have been around about the same. We might have been, you know, playing with the same points, but we would have enjoyed the football more, because I think there's been a ton of noise around Spurs. And I think that's the thing that has been, so exhausting with it. It's yeah, the football's been dire and the results been rubbish, but we seem to sort of pile on even more rubbish on top by the noise on the outside or the decisions we make outside of the football pitch. And it's absolutely crazy. And I'm not saying we wouldn't have had that under Ange, but at least the football would have been better to watch. We know that.
Well, it was one of the that was the other thing that I remember saying at the start of the season that we thought was going to end with winning in Bilbao was the fact that we were basically just a banter club all season, weren't we? And we never got over the line, and we finally got over the line, and we were saying, right, now maybe we will be treated as a serious club again. All of the jokes and everything at the time were back on Arsenal, weren't they? Because they would finish in second again. But no, it is all very much coming our way again. We are still very much the banter club of the
The
league.
only thing that's saving us at the moment is West Ham and Man United.
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
know, there's not enough time to concentrate purely on Spurs being as ridiculous as they are at the moment, because there's 2 clubs trying their very best to help us.
yeah,
I I'm absolutely with you. Like, the loss of the momentum from that win in Bilbao.
yeah.
There was so much good feeling, wasn't there, at the beginning of the season? He got off to a really good start. We played quite well against Burnley. We obviously spent a bit of money in the summer as well. And there was a lot of good feeling. But the Bournemouth game at home was the start of it, wasn't it? When we couldn't
yeah.
get out of a half against Bournemouth. And then it was almost like it was doubled down on. No, we've got to make sure we can play this way, and we're not going to try and be any different. We're just going to sit in and counter. And nothing's been done to change that. And my frustration is that he doesn't seem to want to change the team. I think Bentancur's got injured because he played 4 games in 11 days, when really there was an opportunity to, and I think we said this when Palhinha was bought, isn't it great that Bentancur can be rested, Palhinha can come in, and we've got these 2, relatively good sitting midfielders now that can
Well,
be
we thought
rotated?
we thought Paulinho would be the main man, and Bentancur would
Yeah,
be kind of backup, wouldn't we?
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's interesting that he doesn't seem to fancy Paulinho. He's barely played him.
yeah, yeah, and
I mean,
and
I said that in the last, if not the last pod, the pod before, when Paulina came in and made such an immediate impact. Not just sort of all the harrying he does and the fact that he likes to compress people into tiny atoms, which is always good fun, but the fact he can stick a goal in. The goal he scored against Bournemouth was ridiculous, and I think he's up to 5, 6 goals now. The fact he's not been playing in front of Bentancur is again just one of those little markers against Frank, where you're going, but why? Why when you've got the
the only thing
opportunity
I
are
can
you
see
not?
is that Bentancur's supposed to be better on the ball, isn't he? But I can't remember Bentancur completing a pass that is actually forward.
Mhm.
He goes sideways, but when he tries to go forward, it never gets to the person he's aiming for. He's so bad at it, and we just lose the ball over and over again.
I tell you what, Graham, that I, you're quite right to bring that up, but I think you could say that about a lot of the Tottenham team over the past few months. Our forward pass, our short passing, our through balls, they've either been non-existent or
Well,
they've been
well, the
incomplete.
through ball stat is just ridiculous. I mean, what are we up to now for the whole season? 9.
I think it's
I mean,
12 actually. 12.
Ooh.
it's 12 now, yeah, it was 9 before Aston Villa, wasn't it? We played 3 balls in against that Aston Villa. So, you know, how can you go from what we were doing last season attacking wise to basically sideways passes up the pitch so slowly? Because if
Know
you
how? I know how. I've got the answer for you. It's Thomas Frank. The denominator here was that last season we had a coach who prioritized being offensive, and this season we've got a coach who is prioritizing being offensive by not attacking. So that's the issue we've got. But it's not just that, is it? It's all of the mess and noise. I've made a little list. I'm not going to go through the whole list, right? But I'm just going to go through the first few things, which just set the season off to a perfect tone, right? So the first couple of things on the list, right, is we forget this. We sold Sonny. But I was sort of saying, well, it is probably time for Sonny to go. But he was our club captain. He led us in Bilbao. He was still contributing goals. He was still probably at that particular moment in time one of the first names on the team sheet. You follow that up with then really early doors, Madison, Solanke, Kulusevski. That's your whole front line gone. All the attacking threat that we thought we had the previous season gone. And then we failed to get Eze. We failed to get Morgan Gibbs-White, and then Levy goes. So, and I know that a lot of people think sort of, Levy going was positive, but the amount of unrest that just that little early sort of collection of circumstances, it puts us on the back foot. It means there's a new structure to try and learn and understand. The list goes on, but I'm just trying to think right back to the very beginning with what Frank had to deal with. And I don't think that excuses him and his style of play. But when you start from that base, he had further to go than even just pulling us up from a 17th league finish the season before.
But the whole disappointment is that from this summer, that was all meant to be changing. That was the whole reason there was so much buzz this summer. We'd just won a major European trophy. Levy had gone. We all of a sudden had...
Well, he didn't go until the end of the summer window, did he?
He didn't, but again, you had all of that. No, so that's right. He went kind of a few days after the end of the transfer window, didn't he? But so you then had this brave new dawn where we had a new manager coming in off the back of the European trophy. All of a sudden now we've got these owners directly involved, Spurs supporters. They want success for the club. We had all those quotes coming out. The new CEO came in with that interview as well, talking about the fact that we wanted to challenge on multiple fronts and giving up the league to get a European trophy in future wouldn't be good enough. We wanted it all. So there were all this positivity that came out. And here we are, out of both cups, 13th, 14th in the league, halfway through a January transfer window, decimated by injuries. We're in a worse position now than we were this time last season. I mean, how's that possible?
I think it's been the weight of the job, of the size of the job that he had, and the weight of last season. This team won a trophy. This team is in the Champions League. This team was terrible in the league, so you need to get us right up there. And and here's some new players. Here's some funds to go and do that. And I think I think it's clear that he's not been able to find a way to gel those things together.
It just seems bizarre, doesn't it, that how poor the structure and leadership and the togetherness seems to be, even at the top end of the club. And we delayed this recording because we sort of thought that surely the club is going to come out with something by Monday evening to say we're either doing this with Frank or there was a potential, because the season was over, that he was going to go and we didn't want to do a recording, and the next day there was a big announcement. So the fact that it's so quiet after, again, the promises about how the communication's going to be really open, and this was one of the things with Romero's Instagram post, wasn't it?
Again, and just another thing, sort of throwing like petrol on the fire of bants.
You could sort of, whether it's right or wrong that the captain of the club does that on Instagram, where he doesn't.
Whether it's right or wrong, the captain of the club calls the board liars. Yeah,
because you could argue that they are. They've said at the beginning of the season, we're going to be really open, we're going to communicate really well, and the statement in the post was that they come out when it's good and they hide when it's bad. Where are they? They haven't come out and said anything in support of anyone. I'm a great believer in that it's really actually quite unfair now for Thomas Frank, for example, to get all the questions when we're not in the noughties or the 90s or the 80s when the manager ran everything. If you've got sporting directors and football directors at these clubs, why don't they have to have press conferences? Maybe not
Mm.
pre-match press conferences, but they can certainly have press conferences that aren't just the club media asking nice questions. Why doesn't Paratici and Johan Lange have to sit in front of reporters from the Mail, the Sky, the BBC, answering what on earth is happening at Tottenham Hotspur?
Yeah,
Because
no, that's true.
it's not fair on Frank, is it? I mean, because they're just waiting for people to slip up all the time, and it's an easy scapegoat, isn't it? He's genuinely bad at dealing with the questions that he's getting over the whole club where it's at the moment. He is not helping the situation at all. He is, I think, making things worse.
100%. And the thing about him right now, he just seems completely tone deaf in all of the stuff that he says about the performances. If you listen to him, the last few weeks, he's been quite happy. He's been sort of saying, "Oh yeah, we've been doing okay," and everything like that. And he said we haven't had a bad performance in the last 5 games. And I'm looking around and thinking, "You've got to be kidding me!" Like he just does not seem to be in tune with the fans at all. And I really do think that it's at the stage now where it's almost irrelevant what he does. It's dead man walking. And especially, I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about the West Ham game. If he loses that, I cannot see any way he can still be in a job at the end of it, because it's going to come down. You get to a point where it's not about the relationship between the board and the manager anymore. It's the fans.
Yeah.
And it's going to become so toxic. It will be untenable.
They cannot sell tickets now.
No.
Their emails are going out saying, "Oh, season ticket holders, you can now buy 4 tickets from Man City game."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That would
Wow.
never happen.
Wow.
It's bring all your mates. Please just find somebody to go with you. And I can tell you now, season ticket holders can't sell their tickets, their
Yeah.
seats, because
Yeah.
it's just empty seats all over the place. People just aren't engaged with what's happening at the moment. They don't believe,
No.
and all belief has been lost. And
Uh,
the thing I agree with you around Thomas Frank is that he seems completely, at odds with what our perception seems to be around
yeah.
performances, but also he comes across quite condescending. We might not be tactical geniuses, but we have a perception, even if it's a subconscious perception, that things aren't working. And we said during the Villa game, didn't we? First half, it looks like they're all being asked just to stay in the same positions, and it's zonal marking,
Yeah.
and all Villa have to do is move around a bit. I mean, McGinn just ran the first half, didn't he? Because he just found spaces, because there was no interconnection,
Well,
because
that
nobody
first
was
goal,
thinking, yeah,
the first goal was ridiculous. As you say, we stand in our own half looking like a bunch of training dummies, and all Aston Villa need to do is do a little 2-yard run into the pocket of space. Nobody sees it, and it was literally 2 straight passes straight down the middle where no one is standing, and they're in.
Yeah.
I've always said, and I will keep saying it, players look bad when a system doesn't suit them and a way of playing doesn't suit them. Porro is Spain's fullback. He is not a bad fullback, but he can look atrocious at times,
Yeah,
and he looked atrocious under Ange because he was just isolated all the time, and he looks atrocious under Frank because he's he seems to not know whether he's supposed to be really deep, which he was for the second goal. He was almost on the goal line.
yeah,
Yeah.
He's all over the place, but he's being played every single game. And he's been run into the ground again after us saying right at the beginning of the season, it's fantastic because now we've got Udogie, Spence, and Porro. The three of them can basically rotate because Spence can play both sides. He hasn't
yeah,
done that at all, has he? And I
yeah.
know Udogie's got injury problems, and that hasn't helped at all. But there was plenty of opportunity early in the season to give Porro rests.
Well, I mean, Ben Davies, to be honest,
He's been
he's looked
brilliant.
he's looked all
been our
right.
best player.
But I tell you why that is, and again, it goes back to something you said very, very early on in the season about Spence. is that him being left back is a massive issue because it just blocks off that whole flank because he can't go down the flank. So actually
Yeah.
having Ben Davies, of course he's a much more limited defender, but just the fact that he's left-footed, it opens that flank back up again. But it's every single position is a problem. It's just we can't pass the ball. We can't even, we can't even throw the ball in. And I'm not talking about the long throws.
Yeah,
The defensive
yeah.
throw-ins, it's unbelievable. Every
That
single
last one
defense.
Bergvall did. Oh,
Well, there's that one, but
I actually
But
laughed.
I'm sorry if whoever has decided to turn Bergvall into a long throw merchant, we've got one of the best young talents possibly in Europe, and he is being made to look like an absolute numpty because he's been he's been misprofiled completely. He's either been asked to be a sitting midfielder, which he's not, or a number 10, which he's not. He's a box-to-box midfielder. But Frank doesn't like Sarr either, does he? He
no,
doesn't like box-to-box midfielders.
Because they don't stay where they're supposed to stay. They're not in the little square.
That's exactly the point, isn't it? You've got to stay and you've got to be aware of, holding your position. He doesn't want fluidity,
yeah.
and it's like, we've got a whole mismatched squad, and this goes back to, do we want the squad reshaped for Frank Ball, or actually
Why don't we get into it? Why don't we
let's
switch on the
stick the
Frankometer?
Frankometer on, shall we?
Yes.
Right, so the rules of the Frankometer are very, very simple. We try and do it every week. If we get all three of us saying Frank out for 3 weeks in a row, then we send a strongly worded email into the club. To be honest, by the time we've said Frank out 3 weeks in a row, it might be too late anyway, but we want to give him a chance, don't we? Because at the moment, we haven't got to that point at all.
No.
We've sort of, yeah, haven't we? We've been a bit on the fence a bit, but who wants to go first?
I'm happy to go first. We might get beaten to that strongly worded email as well because the Tottenham Hotspur Supporters Trust, I don't know if you saw their statement about
Yeah.
this week.
Yeah.
They've gone up the board, and I think there was some not particularly veiled comments about the quality of the football as well. So
It was a good statement, actually. I
yeah,
thought that really, as a supporters trust statement, I thought that really kind of captured probably the feelings of the majority of the fans. I think it was a really good statement.
absolutely nailed it. Now, I think I said in the chat to you guys that it really doesn't matter now if Frank goes because whoever's coming in is going to have to deal with the same lack of confidence in the squad, the same injury problems, the same pressures. But to me, I still think that something has to change, and I don't think it's going to be the quality of players we bring in the transfer window. So this week on the Frankometer, I'm Frank out.
Okay. Well, I've been kind of flipping and flopping between in and out. I've been sort of seduced by the odd 20 minutes of decent performances here, there, but no, it's we've obviously had two more defeats, and the stuff that he's saying, I've had enough. Like something has to change. For me, there is only one man that can fix this mess. Unfortunately, he is not available until the summer. But I do truly think the only person that can come back and really get the fans properly back on side is Poch. And I can absolutely see that happening. But it has to be Frank out, and let's just get someone interim in till then, because the season's a write off now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But just to try and ease some of the sort of the toxicity that exists at the moment, he has to go and bring someone in that's going to be a little bit more attacking and at least look to try and win football matches. So for me, Frank out.
Yep, I think I've been flip-flopping as well, but we've had discussions over the last few weeks about, do we want to see where Frank can take us and what does it look like? Do we really think he's going to be playing high press, aggressive? Really, the first 30 minutes of the Aston Villa second half, that is the sort of intensity that I want to see.
Yeah.
But I don't think Frank really wants to play like that with any consistency. It's a desperation. I saw the interview with Van der Ven that was quoted on the BBC website as well. Said that the players chatted about things at half time. and the boss gave us a few things to do as change as well. But it seemed to me that it was very much the players were talking about it.
Yeah.
I can't get on board with him. I just and I wanted to give him patience. I wanted to, but to be honest, I don't want him to have next season as well. Because I don't think it's going to improve dramatically before the end of the year. And I don't necessarily think it's all his fault either, because I don't think he's going to have the squad to be able to really be judged in the truest sense. Because I don't think Kulusevski, Bill Madison's going to be back and all that kind of thing. So, but I just don't think it's worked out. I think it's toxic. I think the easiest thing to do is to get someone in for the end of the season that is a spokesperson for Spurs and has a better way of bringing people together.
So you're saying you want Ryan Mason back?
No, because do you know what? I don't think he'd be a particularly good appointment long term at all. But actually, he's Spurs through and through. He knows the club and he knows what the fans like. Even Harry Redknapp's been.
Hang on. So what you're saying is,
So now I am Frank out. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, because I feel bad given all the circumstances around it. And I do think whoever appointed him and whoever is still at the club that was on that decision needs to go as well, because you can't just throw it at him. It's not fair. It is that whole decision process. Whoever put together this 30 manager list, and Frank was at the top of it, needs to look at where they're getting that data and that, because there's no emotional decision being made in this at all. It looks to me it's all been done on data. They brought someone in, and it's like a robot is running the club.
Well, as you said, it's Langer and his spreadsheets, isn't it? That's exactly what it is. But yeah, and it is. I mean, you went on your big passionate rant last week, but you were absolutely right. Spurs will never accept a style of play that is defensive and negative, and it will never ever work. Just it cannot work. So you have to bring in somebody that understands the club, understands what the fans want to see, and without that, they've got no chance. Because if you're playing that style of football, then all you have is results. You don't have anything else to kind of cover any sort of bad performance. You know, at least if you're playing in a style that the fans accept, then they will still get behind you, even if the results aren't there. If you're playing the way we're playing and you don't have the results, forget it. You've got nothing.
We're going to move on to our predictions in a moment, but imagine not getting at least, well, to be honest, at least 6 points out of the next two games, West Ham and Burnley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either of those teams taking points off us and getting closer to us, it's a frightening prospect. It doesn't seem reasonable that we're in a relegation scrap, and I don't think we are at the moment. But in 2 weeks' time, we could be doing this and saying, "Oh my God, we could be doing a championship pod next season."
we've all just said Frank out, but Graham, you're forgetting if we go to the championship, we just keep Frank because he wants to win the championship.
Yeah.
Get back in again.
Right. So we mentioned the predictions there. I'm quite interested about how these turned out. Should we have a little look?
Yes, I'm sure.
Don't revel in your negative predictions, Tom. We know where this is going.
I've got to grab onto something.
So yes, the predictions, as we've mentioned, 2 defeats. So we had Bournemouth. It was 1 point for Graham. He predicted that we were going to lose. Tom, well, he said a draw, so no points there. I said we were going to win, but I did say that Matthias Tell was going to score, so quite happy about that. I get a point. Aston Villa at home, both myself and Graham said we were going to win. But, ladies and gentlemen, for the 3rd time this season, we have Tom with a clean sweep bonus.
Clean sweep bonus.
Well done, Tom. Correctly predicting the result, Aston Villa win. The score, 2-1 to Aston Villa. And what a shout to say a goal from Odebear. So clean sweep bonus, 4 points. And you were already in the lead. Well, you are stretching your legs now. It's now Graham 17. I've got 19. You are now 28 points.
Yep.
Well done, Tom.
Thanks.
Right.
Yes.
So the next game is massive. It is a massive, massive game. It is our home game against the only team that we can look down our noses at the moment, and that's West Ham. What do we think? Tottenham Hotspur against West Ham United at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Oh dear. I mean, it's got to be the only time that we have to care about West Ham, because normally they hate us. And to be honest, for me, I think we've said before, West Ham, they're just a complete annoying irrelevance. But oh my goodness, this game, I mean, it's got to be one of the biggest games we've had for a long, long time. And just, I can't even think about us losing it. It cannot happen. And so for that reason, I'm going to say we're going to win. I'm going to say we're going to win convincingly. It's going to be 4-0 to Tottenham.
Wow.
We're going to destroy West Ham, move away from the relegation zone, and the goal scorer is going to be Romero.
Fair play. I mean, you'll deserve your bonus point if you get all that right.
It's
so,
happening.
Tom, what do you think?
Well, they're going to be massively up for this. And Nuno too, obviously, because we binned him off. They have bought some more players, but I think in their forward line, and that's not where they needed them, because they've been dreadful in midfield and the defence has been a bit all over the shop. So I actually think we'll win. We might take it 3-1. I'm going to go with, I think, the only player who I think consistently over the last few weeks who's looked genuine quality, and I hope we don't send him out on loan, which is one of the rumours going around at the minute, and that's Tell.
Right, so it's a clear week for Thomas Frank, and he's bemoaned the fact he hasn't had a chance to do any training, but he hasn't got an excuse this week, so I'm expecting pretty patterns of play. We have to win. I mean, West Ham are sort of, 13, 14 points behind us, something ridiculous, and considering how bad we are, my goodness. So, yeah, I think we're going to win. I think we're going to win 2-1. And I really like Matthias Tell. I think he's one of the shining lights from the last few weeks. I love his attitude, and I just hope he's going to score another one and get a really good run in the team. So I'm going to go Matthias Tell as well. Right. So now we're all in a good mood after predicting massive wins. Shall we do a bit of Tom's teaser?
Let's do it. Play that jingle.
Tom's teaser.
Right, chaps. So, as you know, I like to sort of try and find a different little format for every Tom's teaser. And this one, it's a bit of an ordering game. So I'm going to give you a topic. I'm going to give you some teams. And then I need to put them in the right order. So, for example, it'll be League Cups. And I'll give you a list of teams. And then you need to tell me in order how many League Cups you think these teams have won, starting with the lowest, ending with the highest. And as it was the FA Cup weekend, I thought I'd start with the FA Cup. I will say that what I'm not doing is choosing the most teams, or the team with the most FA Cups, for example, or the team with the most X. I'm just choosing teams that are in and around Tottenham Hotspur, who, of course, will be included in every round. So, for the FA Cup, here are your teams: Aston Villa, Blackburn, Everton, Man United, and Tottenham Hotspur.
Okay, so I think Aston Villa is 5th, Blackburn, Everton, Spurs, Man United.
Okay, Graham, what do you think?
So I've gone Everton, Aston Villa, Blackburn, Spurs, Man United.
You both get 3 points because the order was Everton with 5, Blackburn with 6, Aston Villa with 7, Tottenham Hotspur with 8, Manchester United with 13. I can't remember who's got the most FA Cups. Okay, next round.
Yeah, no.
Right, okay, so now we're going to go on to number of red cards in the Premier League.
Premier League, yeah?
Whatever?
Okay. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Okay, so you're going to put these teams in order. Those teams are Arsenal, Aston Villa, Newcastle United, West Ham, and of course, Tottenham Hotspur. Graham, I think we'll come to you first. Give me your order of the red cards in ascending order, please. So lowest to most.
I was going to say, that will confuse him.
You saw the look on my face there, didn't you? When I talked about that. So again, I think I'll go through my justification afterwards, but I'm going Newcastle 5th, West Ham, Aston Villa, Tottenham, Arsenal. And that's based on the fact that, again, although Aston Villa and Newcastle suddenly think they're great, massive clubs, they've not really been in the Premier League for an awful lot of the time the Premier League's existed. So,
see what you've done there.
Yeah, and we all know West Ham has hardly ever been in the Premier League, so that's where I'm going with it.
I mean, you're sparring at the minute. I can feel the anger coming off you.
I'm lashing out.
Right, Mark, what do you reckon? In ascending order, Reds in the Premier League, go.
Yeah, I'm not so confident after what Graham said, because that's actually a very good point. But anyway, I've gone Spurs 5th, Villa 4th, West Ham 3rd, Newcastle 2nd, Arsenal 1st.
So, in that round, Mark, you got 3. Graham, you got 1.
Ooh!
That logic didn't work out then, did it?
Oh,
it really made sense to me as well.
Yeah, and it was wrong. So starting with, in 5th place, Aston Villa with 71. 4th was Tottenham with 78. 3rd was West Ham with 87. Newcastle was 4th in 95. And Arsenal were top with 112.
Yeah, I mean, they were always going to be top. Dirty Arsenal.
That's the only one I got right. Wow. So I suggest, seeing as we're ever present in the Premier League, that maybe we should put our foot in a bit more.
Yeah, well, I think Romero's working on that right now.
Yeah.
Right, so then we got our final round now, and it's hat-tricks scored in the Premier League. So, your teams for this one are Chelsea, Liverpool, Manchester City, Newcastle United, and of course, Spurs. And Mark, will come back to you for your first stab at putting these in order. We're going least to most. Ready?
Yeah. So I am going to say 5th, Man City, 4th, Chelsea, 3rd, Spurs, 2nd, Newcastle, 1st, Liverpool.
Okay. Graham?
Yeah, quite similar. So I've gone Newcastle 5th, Chelsea 4th, Spurs 3rd, Manchester City 2nd, and Liverpool 1st.
Okay.
The same.
So in that round, Graham, you scored the only point.
Really?
Yeah.
Not enough, though. Not enough.
I don't think it is. So we'll get onto the final scores in a minute, but the order is as follows. For hat-tricks in the Premier League, you've got Newcastle on 15, Tottenham on 29, Chelsea on 32, Liverpool on 42, Manchester City on 44. But what that does mean is that Mark ends that game with 6 points. Graham, you end that game with 5 points, which means this week's Tom's Teaser overall winner is Mark. And that takes Mark into double figures for the season. And in the Tom's Teaser table, it's Graham 6, Mark 10.
Tom's Teaser.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks for your Tom's Teaser as always. I'm glad I'm getting absolutely battered at that as well. So the transfer window is open. We try and stay away from mad speculation, but there has been a bit of news over the last few days and few hours. So who wants to go through it?
Well, yeah, literally, we've just been checking our phones. As you said, we delayed recording because we thought Thomas Frank might be sacked on Monday. He hasn't been, but it has meant that we've got some break-in transfer news. About 5 minutes ago, it's been confirmed. Well, as confirmed as it gets at the moment is that we've got the signing of Conor Gallagher wrapped up from Atletico Madrid. Obviously, Bentancur is out for most of the rest of the season, so Gallagher, I guess, coming in for that position. Yeah, I mean, he was a good player at Palace and Chelsea, so yeah, I guess it's an upgrade. I'm not sure whether it's still the slick passer and pivot point that we need in that midfield. He's again, he seems more of a box-to-box player, which, as we've discussed, I'm not sure Thomas Frank is really that good at using, but he's got quality. He's a decent sign and not a massive transfer fee. So I think it's a positive to bring anyone into the club. Let's be honest.
I mean, we need squad depth. He's not a bad player at all. If it does complete, then it's a great replacement for Bentancur getting injured. I'm certainly never going to be bemoaning bringing in Premier League experience, Champions League experience. You certainly can't say that he's any worse than what we've got.
I'd argue that I'd argue he is an upgrade on Bentancur, and for me it's for two main reasons. He's more dynamic than Bentancur is. I remember seeing him play, not just for Chelsea but for England as well. He got that run in the England team where he'd pick up the ball and he would drive it forward. Plus, I seem to remember he came up now and then with a few goals. Yeah, I'm not saying he's a goal scoring midfielder, but I mean,
you say that
he can shoot from the edge of the box, which is not what we've got at the moment. So
yeah, exactly.
That's a positive.
He scored 16 goals for Chelsea in his last season.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, and he scored double figures for Palace in his last season at Palace as well. So he knows where the goal is.
And we're not getting any output in an attacking sense from Bentancur. And if Conor Gallagher's there and does okay, that might be the last time we see Bentancur play for the club.
And of course, the other signing that apparently is very, very close. In fact, he should be on a plane at the moment. Is
did you just look out the window?
Yeah, I did for dramatic effect
on a podcast.
But got a new left back coming in.
We need somebody in that position. We really do. So I'm pleased that we're getting someone. But again, it's this thing about it looks like we're buying talent. I think he's really well thought of. I saw that Phil Vickery on the BBC, who's sort of their sort of a South American chappie, speaking very, very highly of him. But it's a massive adjustment. Spurs love a Brazilian player. And if he's as good as people say, then great. But we can't expect much from him, straight off the bat. We've got to get Udogie back first. And we were saying before about Ben Davies. He's proven he can still do a job. So, I mean, this one is good, but feels like one for the future.
Yeah, I think it would be really unfair to bring in a 19-year-old Brazilian kid into this environment right now. I hope he doesn't appear too much right now, that's for sure.
Fantastic. Right. So transfer window is sort of hotting up. So hopefully we'll get a few more in as well. Maybe the season will turn out better than we seem to be expecting at the moment. So let's finish on a positive Spurs.
Now everybody, haven't you heard? Here's a guy that can polish a turd. When you think you've got nothing to give, he'll stay positive. Positive Spurs.
So my positive Spurs this week is Tottenham Hotspur women's team. Aren't they doing fantastically well? And what I really like at the moment is that their transfer window has opened and they've done good business really early and they've got some really good signings in. I just think if you look at a little area of the club that is working and where an improvement has really been made from last season, because it's very similar to the women's team in the league last season, wasn't it? They barely survived. But they brought a new coach in. But the way that they play is sort of how you want the men's team to play. They're very intense. They're very aggressive. They go all around the pitch, and they're really competitive. And I think it's really positive. They're level on points with Arsenal at the moment. Arsenal women. It's
just outside just outside the Champions League places, aren't they? Yeah.
So I think within the club there is something that seems to be going right at the moment. I think that's generally a good place to finish. Bit of a positive there. There is things within the club that we can look at and smile at. So thanks guys. Be another big week coming up, and come on you Spurs.
Week. Come on you Spurs.
We can only go one way, so go on then. Come on you Spurs.